Hello, JMU Nation. It's Dave Thomas, the radio voice for JMU football and men's basketball. Back once again, spending another few minutes, if you will, talking to a Duke in the pros. And we're pleased this week to go south of Harrisonburg and spend some time in Tampa Bay. Joining us now, Josh Wells, former JMU offensive lineman. Josh, first of all, man, thanks for taking time. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Look, it's year 6 for you. As you go through the beginning of a camp and get ready for a season, now that you've been around the block a couple of times, does it get easier or is it different every year for you?
I think it's different. It's kind of a new team. I was here last year, but my first time in camp this year was down here. And I think it's just kind of different. You kind of know your role. You find your role. It just kind of, depending on the locker room and things like that, I think things definitely change. But I think it's knowing your role and kind of sticking to that.
Obviously, this year was dramatically different with COVID-19 and no workouts in the offseason. Things were limited. So how different was that? And did you have to get creative with ways to work out and keep yourself ready to go so when the season finally rolled around?
Yeah, it was kind of – it was definitely different, but I kind of looked at it as a blessing for sure. I got to spend a lot of time with both my kids and my wife, a lot more time than I usually get to spend with them. But it was good. I had a gym in my garage. A guy I played with in Jacksonville for my first 5 years lives right down the road, so we kind of worked together. But I think you kind of had to make the most of it. And I think being a vet, being an older guy, kind of helped me. You know, I think early on it could have been tough, but kind of in my position where I'm at now, it definitely wasn't too bad.
Easier on the body, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Little less mileage this year and things like that. And kind of had a ramp-up period coming back, which I think helped. And so, yeah, definitely shortened things down a bit this year.
When you finally reported to camp, though, how different was it with all the protocols you had to go through?
It's very different. And I think it's going to be a testament to who's kind of does well this year, who can kind of stick to that and keep guys healthy around the locker room. But, yeah, I mean, the mask and eating outside and separation in the locker room and things like that is definitely different. But I think you just got to kind of take it head on and try to make the most of it.
You've mentioned the locker room a couple of times. Your locker room changed dramatically this year. A lot of excitement coming in with the arrival of Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski. How different has it been for you, if any at all? Is it still just go to work and do what I do for you surrounding all the excitement?
I think so, absolutely. I mean, those guys are great. Definitely professionals, but great guys too. And I think once you get past the starstruckness of it, I think that some guys can have. I think they're just guys that want to come to work and win football games and contribute to this team as much as they can. So, yeah, I think it's kind of once you get past that, it's definitely kind of a what have you done for me lately kind of business. And I think as long as you stick to that and do your job, then enjoy it as much as you can.
Obviously, there's a lot of we got to get caught up on the playbook and that sort of thing. But after a while, did it just seem normal? I mean, were you having normal conversations about kids and eating and colleges and those sort of things in the locker room with those guys a part of the conversation?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think once you kind of settled into a routine and I think it's very much a routine business, you kind of find your stride and stick to it. And it's kind of like Groundhog Day most days. But, yeah, I mean, we definitely had times to open up and relax. And I think getting to know guys around the locker room helps even more on the field. So, yeah, it's been great.
You touched on really part of my next question, it being different and being a business. You left college where you were a student athlete, and you always probably had the dream of playing at the NFL level. How quickly did you realize this is a business? This is not Kansas anymore, Toto. I've got to do things differently. How quickly did it take you to make that realization and then really adapt your life around that?
For me, it was pretty quick. I kind of found some guys, which I think is really important right when you get into the NFL, to find an older guy or a guy that you kind of can just follow along with and see how he kind of does things. But, I mean, it's important you see guys who kind of take it as a hobby and kind of take it as kind of second fiddle to whatever they else have they going, and they don't stick around very long. So I think the sooner you can realize that it is a business, to not take things personally, and to kind of do it not for other people, but to do it for me, it's to glorify God. And for me, it's to provide for my family. And once you kind of get in that headspace of don't take it personally and come to work, I think the better off you are.
Did you ever have those early moments, though, where it's like, little Josh always dreamed of this, and now there you are getting ready to run out of a tunnel in front of a stadium full of people, and hopefully we get back to that soon. But what were those first days like when you made your first entrance on an NFL field?
Yeah, I mean, you have all these kind of emotions going on. You're so happy. I mean, you get anxious, there's things like that. But I think once you kind of take it back to the simplest form for me and what you enjoyed about it growing up and just trying to enjoy every moment about it because you don't know how long it's going to last. And I think sometimes this is year 7, so I can kind of lose sight of that. But I think the more you can keep that kid mentality as far as when you're playing, enjoy all the things that you can enjoy.
For your position in particular to last this long from a smaller school, because there's always contact. You can watch the quarterbacks that doesn't get hit that much. The receivers sometimes don't get touched. But you guys on the line, you're banging every single play. So what's been the secret for longevity for you? How have you made it work this long for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a blessing for sure. I mean, because you don't I don't know what the average career is, but it's definitely a blessing to have been able to play this long. But I think, like I said, I think the more you can grab onto an older guy, start to learn to take care of your body because your body is your business. And I think if you're not available, you won't be able to play. If you're not dependable, you're not going to be able to play. And then coachability as well. But I think, like you said, you just got to – it is work, but treat your body like a job too. So spending whatever money you need to take care of that to be available to contribute.
One of the things I love about my job the most is being able to be on the practice field at Bridgeport Stadium, and I get to go from station to station and watch the coaches work with the players, and I get to hear the interaction. And I've always wondered, how's coaching different at the NFL level from the collegiate level, from your position coach, first of all, and then from your head coach? Because you see a lot of maturation when you first get to college and watch kids grow and develop. Now when you get to the pros, everybody's a grown man. So how's the coaching different?
Yeah, I mean, I think like you said, I think it depends on the coach. But I would say one of the big differences is they're not going to – they can always cut you. They can fine you if you're not going to do what you're supposed to be doing. If it doesn't matter to you, they can cut you. So I feel like in college, there's more yelling. There's a lot more just kind of pushing you. And I think in the NFL at that point is you know what you need to do. You usually know what you've done wrong once you've messed up. So I think there's very much more a coaching perspective. And I've had coaches yell and things like that. And at the core of it, I don't think many things change too much. But like I said, they can always take your job. They can always fine you. So there's a little less yelling and more coaching and just preparing you to do your best.
Is there deeper off-the-field relationships? I know at the collegiate level, especially with the coaching staff now at JMU, nearly every position coach, if not all of them, have off-the-field relationships where they talk about life and about things with their players. Do you have those connections? Are you able to have those connections at the professional level?
Yeah, see, I don't think there's as much of that. I think even with the teammates, I think in college I roomed with all offensive linemen, Matt Williams and Scott Jones, and those guys are my best friends still to this day. And off the field, you're going to dinner and you're doing things like that. And here, it's very much a job that when you get off work, you go home to your family or your girlfriend or whatever you have to go home to. And things are kind of separated. And then I think with coaches as well, there's not these bonding moments you get off the field, really, because they're working, it's their job. We're working, it's our job. And kind of when you're outside of football, you try to go home and be a husband and a father.
Let's go back to you coming out of high school and trying to decide where you're going to play college ball. What was it about JMU that made you make that choice?
So I was a walk-on. I had no offers, and it was Richmond or JMU were the two places that gave me an opportunity to walk on. And Richmond was probably 15 minutes from my house, and JMU was a little further. So, I mean, I knew they had a good football program and things like that, and Coach J.C. Price was kind of came and talked to me, and I really respected him and liked him. So, yeah, it wasn't too many options, but it's kind of all worked out. So,
I guess JMU not being so close to home maybe was an advantage then.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I just kind of my dad, my mom kind of wanted me to kind of go off and grow a little bit, and I think it definitely worked and definitely helped.
Now you go from walk on to you're in your 7th year in the NFL. Those stories don't happen a lot. I mean, what was it about? When did you really feel a transition at your time at JMU that, okay, I'm settling in here now and I'm a legitimate player?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't move to O-line until probably my 3rd year. And even at that, I was probably 285 and trying to figure things out. But, I mean, I would say maybe after my junior year, I had Coach Malone as an offensive line coach, and he was tough on us and things like that, but kind of gave me that, hey, if you really keep taking this thing seriously, you can have an opportunity. And I just kind of listened and heard it, and kind of always worked hard, but never really looked too far ahead. And then, yeah, I mean, I had an opportunity, and I think all those experiences of being a walk-on and things like that definitely helped just to continue to keep my head down and go to work for sure.
What did you transition from, and what were those first few practices trying to grasp the offensive line game plan and being different from what you did before?
Yeah, well, I played quarterback in high school. I was like 215. Didn't come as a quarterback, kind of just tight end was my first position, and went to D-line and then went to O-line, back to D-line, and kind of bounced around. And being a walk-on, I was just willing to do whatever they kind of wanted me to do to try to get on the scholarship and things like that. But, yeah, I mean, I think playing quarterback to some degree helped for sure. But just had great coaches always at every position, honestly. I think JMU's full of great coaches at every position when I was there, and I'm sure it's the same way now, but just kind of had people pushing me and walking with me, and I just believe that things worked out how they're supposed to, and just trying to make the most of it every day.
Growing from 215 to 285 to where you are now to be able to have the structure to maintain your position, how difficult was that process of getting stronger, getting bigger so you fit the position?
Yeah, I think it's just my mentality was just to come and just outwork the guy in front of me. I mean, obviously the dining hall, great food helps. I think good strength program, obviously, and strength staff, and I can't thank those guys enough. I still stay in touch with them, and like I said, looking back, I mean, it is a blessing, and for me, like, I just see God working in me every step of the way, because I was 215 and 6'5" and a quarterback to be where I am now, and just trying to make the most of everything I've been blessed with, honestly.
You've referenced your faith. Tell us about that a little bit, and where that seed was planted, and how you use that to get through your routine of what is a rigorous routine during an in-season schedule.
Yeah, I mean, so in college, my faith wasn't very important to me initially. Tyler Snow, he played defensive end at JMU, and he kind of was the first person to kind of plant a seed in my head. And man, and now I've got baptized probably 3-4 years ago, and for me, I think it helps because I know my identity is not in football. My identity is not in what other people say about me. It's not in a house or a truck or a car. Like, it's in God. It's in Jesus Christ. So it frees me up to use all the blessings I have to be free and to go at it and know that he's in control of it all, and I can just use everything he's given me to the best of my ability to give him the glory and not to give it to anybody else. So for me, it is a grinding job, and I think most people's jobs have stressful parts about it, but I think what helps me is knowing that my identity is not in what I do, and just trusting in that, honestly.
Let's go back to your playing days at JMU. Is there a pinnacle game, maybe when you're sitting around talking with friends about your collegiate career? Is there one game you go back to as a game that sort of stands out in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, Virginia Tech was great. I wasn't a very big contributor. I was a redshirt freshman. Played on some special teams, so I could say Virginia Tech, which is incredible. But there's some games against, I think my redshirt junior year, we played Richmond. And that's just, I knew a lot of guys on the team and things like that. But I would say definitely playing Richmond every year for me was always big. And then obviously the Virginia Tech game was, I mean, looking back, just to be a part of something like that and being a very small part of something like that was awesome.
Can only imagine what your schedule is in season, but how much do you keep up with JMU when football's normal and we're all playing at the same time?
For sure. I mean, I watch as Saturdays usually when we have home games. We're done around 11, and then we'll have meetings later that night. So I usually tune in online all the time. And then if we're traveling, it's a little harder. But, I mean, I'm down here with Aaron Stinney, and then last year I was with Earl Watford and Aaron Stinney, so and Ishmael Hyman. So we were all kind of staying in touch. And, yeah, I mean, it was definitely a great experience for me. So I try to stay in touch with those guys and watch as much as I can.
Yeah, it leads to my next question about Stinney. He's a guy that I got to cover, and Ish as well. But you're on the same line with these guys. How neat is that for although you didn't play there at the same time, you weren't there at the same time. But again, smaller school guys be able to achieve the highest level.
Yeah, Stinney and I talk all because Stinney was he was a red shirt when I was a senior. So he was on scout team D line and I was on offensive line. So we have good talks about that, good stories and things like that. But it's just awesome. It's familiarity, I guess, knowing where a guy's been and the program he's gone through. And then his locker is right beside mine in the locker. So we just build a relationship that is a lot deeper than just our job now.
Josh, last question for you. You referenced your kids and your wife a couple of times. Tell us about your life. Obviously, you're in Tampa. Is that your full-time residency? Tell us about your family, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so I'm in Jacksonville's full-time home for me. I played there, like I said, my first 5 seasons and then going into my 6th camp before I got released. But, yeah, so Jacksonville's full-time home. We'll be down here in Tampa for the season, then go back. But I've been dating my wife since high school. We've been married for 4 years, and I got 2 kids. I have a 1-year-old son and 2.5-year-old daughter, so things are a little crazy, but it's awesome. I mean, it's the best thing in the world to come home to them. Definitely puts things in perspective, good day or bad day. But, yeah, we're both from small town, kind of went through high school, college, and then all together. So to have them by my side is incredible.
I've heard your name a lot since I came to Harrisonburg a few years back, but to get to know your story a little deeper, I think is going to hopefully be inspiring to JMU fans and maybe current JMU football players. Josh Wells, thank you for the time. Stay healthy this year. Stay upright, man. Keep it going down there, and best of luck to your team.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.